Salvete omnes. If you'd like to support the channel along with these patrons, there's a link in the description box below. Or you can become a member on YouTube by hitting the join button below. This lesson's story is a little bit easier, so as we go through the story, pay attention to the verbs. You'll notice a change in the tense about 3/4 of the way through the story. Try to think about what the difference is between these two parts to cause this change. Hercules iam adolescens Thebis habitabat, rex Hebarum creon appellabatur. Minuae gens bellicosissima Thebanis finitimi erant, legati autem a minuis ad Thebanos cotanis mitebantur. Hi Thebas viniebant, et centum boves postulabant. Thebani enim olim a minuis superati erant. Tributa igitur regi minuarum potanis pendebant. At Hercules cive suos hoc stipendio liberare constituit. Legatos igitur comprehendit, atque aures eorum abscidit. Legati autem apud omnes gentes sancti habentur. Okay, here's the breakdown. Hercules iam adolescens Thebis habitabat. This is almost English. Hercules, now an adolescent, lived in Thebes. Note that Thebis is the locative form. Rex Hebarum creon appellabatur. This should also be easy. The king of Thebes was called Creon. Minuae gens bellicosissima Thebanis finitimi erant. Thebani and finitimi are nouns that only have a plural form. So can you recognize what declension they are and what case they are in? They're both second declension and they are in dative and nominative forms respectively. Finitimi means neighbors. So this means neighbors to the Thebans. So we have the Minyae, a most warlike race, were neighbors to the Thebans. Legati autem a minuis ad Thebanos cotanis mitebantur. Hi Thebas viniebant, et centum boves postulabant. A legatus is a legate, or an ambassador. And every year they were sent from whom to whom? The next half of the sentence gives it away. From the Minuis to the Thebani, because in the next part we have, they came to Thebes and requested 100 cows. When you postulate, you are sort of claiming or requesting that something be true. And something bovine is related to cows. Thebani enim olim a minuis superati erant. Can you figure out this phrase? For the Thebans at that time were superior to the Minis. Just like in English, the subject, the noun in nominative form, is the one who is superior. Tributa igitur regi minuarum potanis pendebant. This sentence should also be clear except for the last word, which means to pay. Pendo does mean to hang, like a pendulum, but it can also mean to pay, as in expend, or literally pay out. So we have, they therefore paid tribute every year to the king of the Minyas. At Hercules cive suos hoc stipendio liberare constituit. Stipendium is just used here as a synonym for tributum, and hoc stipendio is the ablative of separation, which just translates to from this tribute. And remember, if I say constituo, this is like saying I have the constitution for doing something, or in other words, I am determined to do it. It's the combination of con plus statuo, literally to set up with, like saying I have set myself up to do something. So this means, but Hercules was determined to free his citizens from this tribute. And did you figure out why there was a shift in tense here? Up until this sentence, the story was in the imperfect tense, because it was describing the past. But from now on, it will be in the perfect tense because it is narrating events. Legatos igitur comprehendit, atque aures eorum abscidit. Comprehendo literally means to grasp in Latin, but could also be used with the figurative sense of I comprehend. Here it obviously is being used with the literal sense of he therefore seized the ambassadors. And then what did Hercules do? Abscidit means cut off. Do you see the beginning of scissors in the middle of the word? And what did he cut off? The aural part of the body. Idest, their ears. Legati autem apud omnes gentes sancti habentur. Apud seems like a contraction of ob and ad, which would mean something like onto, but it's being used here to mean among. The French word avec, meaning with, comes from this word. And if you remember from the video on Roman names, one's nomen distinguished which gens or clan one belonged to. For example, Gaius Julius Caesar belonged to the gens Julii. But we might translate apud omnes gentes as among all nations to make it sound cool. And finally, what do you think habentur means? This is the passive form of habent, so it means are held to be or considered. And we have, but the ambassadors are considered holy among all nations. Okay, here's the story again. Hercules iam adolescens Thebis habitabat, rex Thebarum creon appellabatur. Minuae gens bellicosissima Thebanis finitimi erant. Legati autem a minuis ad Thebanos cotanis mitebantur. Hi Thebas viniebant, et centum boves postulabant. Thebani enim olim a minuis superati erant. Tributa igitur regi minuarum cotanis pendebant. At Hercules, quive suos hoc stipendio liberare constituit. Legatos igitur comprehendit, atque aures eorum abscidit. Legati autem apud omnes gentes sancti habentur. Dun dun dun. We'll find out the consequences of Hercules' rash actions in the next lesson. See you then. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share, and if you can, help support the channel on Patreon, where there are audio downloads and transcripts of each dialogue and story. Gratias!